Everyone, welcome to the Mercury Virtual. Hope you are doing good. Today I am going to continue the same module, that is the quality systems in IT, and the same chapter, that is chapter number 3, that is role, origin and the application of the ISO 9000. Yesterday's class was not available because of the not availability of me, that is the faculty. So that class will be continued in the today's class, that is the today's session. So let's start with the previous session, that is the last to last class session, then moves to today's topic. In the last to last class session, we have started with what are the various changes that is available to ISO 9000. That is the changes to the ISO 9000 standard that is used. These are the various changes. The first of all, change in the title, then change in the scope, then change in the structure. So these are the changes that we covered in the ISO 9000. So what are the various changes that is available in the ISO 9000? So first is a change in the title. So there is a change in the title that we discovered. Then change in the scope. That means the scope, or the we can say the variety is very limited. That is the scope. Then change in the structure. That is the structure is also different. So this is a diagram, that is a model of a process-based quality management system. That is how the quality will be improved, how the quality will be enhanced by using the resource management, by using the measurement, analysis and the improvement. That is a product realization, product involvement. That is also one of the part of the process-based quality management system. And there are no processes or the system between the needs of the interested parties, and satisfying them over them are shown within the Eclipse. So that is the diagram explanation. That is how it is used as ISO 9000 standards, or how it is used as the challenges that is faced by the ISO 9000 standard. So these are the various challenges that is faced by the ISO 9000, and this is the one to end-to-end process that there is the industry party needs, that the industry party needs satisfied. So there is a process A, process B, and the process C. That is the end-to-end process that is satisfied over here. Then next is a change in the content. That is a change in the content from the 20 element that is organized on the basis of what could go wrong to 4 groups of requirement that focus on the elements of the process management. So whatever the process management that is carried out, that is there is a changes in the content that is required from the 20 element that is organized on the basis of what could go wrong to the other groups of the requirement that focus on the elements of the process management. That is what are the various focuses that is available for the process management, what are the various content that is used for the process management. Then next is a change in the intent. That means intent means the what are the various quality requirement that is used, what are the various requirement that could lead to the failure that experience the poor product quality. That is a change in the content. That is also one of the change that is available to the ISO 9000 standards. And whatever the initial understanding of a requirement ISO that might be used, or that might be the intent is that is used for the organization, that believes design and manage their processes effectively to achieve the corporate objectives. Then there is a change in the language also. That is the language in the ISO has changed to the reflect pressure from the user community to the user friendliness. So the language must be accurate, and that must be user friendly as per the user requirement. That is as per the user requirement, it is standardized. That is the change in the language. In some cases, the changes are insignificant, but in others, the changes have a wider impact. So the changes have a wider impact in the language. So there's a language that is changed in the ISO 9000 standards. Then the change in the requirement, and these are the basic requirement that is used in this one. Now, what are the various key changes that is available in this one? So first of all, there is a change in the audit. Then there is a change in the communication. Then there is a continual improvement, contract review, customer satisfaction, that is a satisfying the customer or not, that is a customer satisfaction. Then design of the product, that is the organization design the product and the services that is used, that is included in the management system, that is a design. Then documentation, that is determined by the organization as necessary for the effective operation. So whatever the effective operation that is used for the documentation part, that is used for the documentation that is used in the designing part. Then linkages, so organization purpose, policy, objective, processes, and result to be linked to demonstrate the effective process management. That means what are the various linkages that is available with the process management. Then management review. So top management to review the system for its effectiveness in enabling the organization. So whatever the organization that is carried out, so that is used to meet the requirement of the customers and other interested party, that is a management review. Then there is a marketing. So the process that is employed to determine the customer needs and the expectations must form part of the management system that is used to make the effective management system that is no longer limited to contract the review activity. So whatever the review activity, whatever the standard that is used for the marketing and that is used for the review activity. Then there is a measurement that is used for the measurement. So this is required for all the processes that not only used for the production, but that is used, that is servicing and the installing processes that is also used for this one. Now these are the various requirements that is used in this one. That is what are the various requirements that is used, and there are the differences between this one. So these are the various clauses. We have to pick the clauses for this one. Now what is the impact on this one? So these requirements will have a considerable impact on the organization that so or that will see the ISO as a badge on the. So ISO 9000 standard have a great impact on the organization that see the ISO 9000 as a badge on the wall as a means of getting the recognition for what they were doing without changing anything. So without changing anything, what is the impact that is used for the changing requirement? It means that if the organization wish to obtain or retain the certification, they will need to look outward towards their customer. So whatever their customer needs that is used to take the certification, they will need to look outward towards their gain. It will not be permissible to simply meet the organization specified requirement. So whatever the organization requirement that will be used, that is meeting ISO 9000, and the system will no longer be a bolt on the system that is used to serve the certification body and only to get the badge. So whatever the certification body that is used to serve the badge, and the organization can no longer choose the parts of the structure or select the functions or operations. So whatever the function that is used, that is also one of the part of the ISO 9000 certification. And the performances of the organization that is related to the customer satisfaction will be monitored on the basis of the effectiveness of the this one. Now, what happened to the 20th element? That is, what happened to the 20 element? That is, whatever the 2000 element that is used in the ISO. So, what are the various conclusions that have been emerged? So, first is management responsibility. So, management have a great responsibility in this one. That means the more focus on the resource management. That is a management responsibility. Then there is a quality system. So, there is a quality management system that can be improved. That is obtained by using the planning of the product realization. Then there is a contract review, then design control. This we have studied in the quality management system control. Then purchasing, process control, inspection and the testing, inspection and the test cases, handling, storage, packaging. This is one of the important point, that is the product realization. Then quality control. So these are the every chapter that is a statistical technique that is used for the measurement. So these are the chapter that we are going to study in various sections. Then there is an exclusion. That means whatever the or what are the things that we exclude from the ISO 9000 standard. So that can be excluded, that where any requirement cannot be applied to the nature of the organization and its product. This can be considerable for exclusion. So whatever the product that we are using, so that is exclusion that is used for the nature of the organization. So clause 1.2 of ISO 9001 states that where any requirement cannot be applied due to the nature of the organization and its product, this can be considered for exclusion. So that can be considered for the exclusion. And in the past, organizations were able to register part of their systems or the part of their organization and the product ranges. And exclusions are limited to the requirement within the clause 7, meaning that means these are requirement to this one, and these are required for these answers to the question, that is what is the key area or what is the idea or principle behind this requirement, that is what is the main idea that is used behind this requirement, and then what kind of problems could be prevented from meeting the requirement. So what are the various problems that could be prevented from meeting the requirement or meeting this requirements. So that is what is the principle that is used, what are the requirements, then why would meeting the requirement provide the confidence to the customer. So whatever the customer that is needed, that is provided by the requirement of the customers. Now, what are the various impact of this requirement? So first is planning of the product realization. That is, we are going to plan out the product realization. That is planning of the product realization. So first is planning of the product realization. That is plan out of the product realization. That means what are the various impact that is used for the planning the product realization. That is, every organization provides output of one kind or the another, and therefore needs the processes to deliver these output. That means that need to be planned the output, or whatever the output that is planned, that is delivered. That is the planning of the planned realizations. That is one part. Then customer related processes. So there will be customer related processes. That is also one of the part of the requirement that is carried out. That is carried out with this one. So personal processor related, that is used in this one, that is used for developing the data, that is used for getting the data, that is the customer related processes. So organization do not have to profit or to be the profit making to have a customers, but the term customer is not supposed to in the ISO 9000 to imply only those that make the purchases. So whatever the purchases that is used for depending on the transaction that is used in this one, that is a profit making to have the customers, because the customer or because the term customer is not used in the ISO 9000 to imply only those that make the purchases. So whatever the purchases that is required with the customer related processes. Then 7.3 is design and the development. So every organization provides output that can be in the form of tangible or the intangible. That means every organization provides the output that may be a tangible in nature that we can touch, or intangible in nature that is we cannot touch. For example, computer, services, whatever the product that is used. So that is the design and the development that will be supplied from elsewhere or services that develop, distribute, evaluate, or manipulate the information, such as in finance, education, or government. So whatever the designing, whatever the form that will be used, that is used for the design and the development. And with every product, there is a service. So for every product, there is a service that is provided. So if the product is provided from elsewhere, a service still needs to be designed to process it. So whatever the service, whatever the need that is designed, whatever the product that is provided, that is designed to process it. While not every organization may provide a tangible product, every organization does provide a service. So whatever the organization, whatever the service that is provided by the organization, that may be a tangible or intangible in nature. It is therefore inconceivable that this clause could be excluded from anything other than the for the product designing, meaning that it must be included for the service design. So this is one of the important part, that is the design and the development. The next is the purchasing. That means whatever the purchasing term, whatever the term that is used for the purchasing, that could be developed. So every organization purchases the product and the services, because no organization is totally self-sufficient except perhaps a monastery. So and not every organization is self-sufficient for developing the product. So it's mandatory to get the monastery, and it doubtful if the ISO standards would enter the throats of a monk. And some purchasing may be incorporated into the product services that must be used, that must be supplied to the customer requirement, that must be used with the customer requirements. So that will be provided for the customer requirement, that will be used, so that will be available on the product or the services that may be affect the organization. So it is therefore inconceivable that this clause could be excluded in an organization that was considering certification to the ISO 9001. So there is a certification that should be excluded in the organization that is also a part of the ISO 9001 standards. Then 7.5 is production and the service provision. So whatever the production services, whatever the service that will be used, whatever the provisions that will be used, so the next concept is the production and the service provision. So every organization provides the output, and these outputs needs to be either produced or distributed. So every organization has a provision to provide the output, and these outputs need to be either produced or distributed. So it depends on the organization to organization whether they have produced the output or whether they have distributed the output. And if the organization only designs the product, it produces or it provides a design services. So there is a design services that is also available. There is a production and the service provision that should be applied in the organization. And some organizations design this clause would apply. And there are, however, sub clauses within the clause that should be that could be excluded. Then validation of the processes. So this clause applies to the processes where the resulting output cannot be verified by monitoring or measurement. That means the resulting output cannot be verified by the monitoring or the measurement. firstly we have to apply the provisions of all the processes. So whatever the validations, whatever the processes. So first of all, we have to apply the processes. Then only the requirement can be applied to all the processes. Then only the provisions can be applied to the processes. So first of all, there is a validation of the processes. So first of all, we have to monitor the measurement, apply the processes, and then these requirements should not be applied to all the processes. So first is define the criteria for review and approval of the processes, that is addressed by the clause this one, where the required area and the method will be used to ensure the correctness or operations or the control of the processes. Then approval of the equipment is addressed by clause 4.20 for all the processes. So whatever the process, whatever the clause that is required for the equipment, that is required for the approval of the equipment that is used. So that is used for all the processes where the resources are used, where the resources are necessary to support the operation. So whatever the operation that will be applicable, that will be used to support the operation and the monitoring of the processes. And the qualification of the personnel is addressed by all the processes where it requires the personnel to be used on the basis of the appropriate education, training, skills, and the experience. Then the next clause that is used is the use of the specific method and the procedure, that is addressed by the clause 4.1d, that is used for all the processes that is used to require or support the operation and monitoring of the process. Then requirement for the record, that is also available, that is used to be established and maintained, that is used to provide the evidence of conformity of the requirements. Then revalidation, that is addressed by the clause 8.2.3 for all the processes where it requires method to demonstrate the ability of processes to achieve planned results. So whatever the planned result that is achieved by the clauses, that is achieved by the different clauses that is used to get the output. So it is therefore inconceivable that this clause could be excluded. Then identification and the traceability. So we can easily identify and trace the requirements. So first of all, identify what's the user requirement. Then trace them. That means apply them or use them as suitable as possible. That means make the content as a user friendly. That is identification and the traceability. So that is appropriate where the traceability is a requirement that is used. So therefore, there is no need to exclude it. Then there is a customer property. So there is a customer property that is required, that is used for the organization that receives a customer property, but such property does takes a variety of the forms. It is not only product supplied for use in a job or for the incorporation into supplies, but can be in the intellectual property, personal data, or the effects that would be required for the customer purchase goods, customer property, transportation, transaction, that is in the form of the credit card. Then next is the preservation of the product. So the product must be preserved by the organization that handle the tangible product or the intangible product, and also provide the documentation that is shipped to the customer. So there is the documentation that can be shipped to the customer or that can be applied to the customer, that is also a part of the requirements, and it applies in the service organization that handles the product, serves foods, and transport the product to the people. It does not apply to the organization that deals in the intangible products such as advisors, although if the advice is documented and the documents are transmitted, preservation requirements would apply. So there should be a preservation requirement, that is the preservation of the product. Although in theory it is conceivable that this clause should be excluded in this one. Then the next clause that is used is the control of the monitoring and the measuring devices. That is how the or what are the various controlling parts that should be monitored or that should be used for the measuring and devices. So every organization must measure the performance of its product, services, and the processes that could be used for the organization. So that is a controlling of the monitoring or control of the monitoring and the measuring devices. That is how we can control the product and the services, that may be a physical, financial, or the human. And while calibration, we can use a validation. So whatever the validation, whatever the document that will be validated. So there is a control of the monitoring and the measuring devices. And it is important that the integrity of the measurement is sound. That means whatever the measurement units, whatever the measurement criteria, that will be sound, must enough, that will be used for the controlling, for the measurement, for the monitoring. And if however we You can take the individual requirements within the clause. That means you can take the individual requirements within the clause that is required for the necessary action that is required for the necessary transitions. And if, however, we can take the individual actions, individual requirement that is used in the clause, and the specific requirement that will be used for the calibration that should be excluded if no physical measuring devices could be employed. Now next is the summary, that is summary of this one, that is the summary of this module or the summary of this chapter. So the summary is this analysis has shown that in only one instance could a clause in the section number 7 of the ISO 9001 that could be or that can be excluded, that can be used two other instances that can be extracted from this one. So that is an alternative structure that will be available. So while ISO 9000 2000 is a step forward, there are several weaknesses that is used in this one, and the resultant structure of the standard that will be applicable. So first is the management responsibility is not a process but a commitment. So that is the whatever the management responsibility, that is not a process but a commitment to the management. Then resource management is a series of the processes. So whatever the resource management we can apply, that is a series of the processes. Then measurement, analysis and improvement is not a process but a sub processes that will be used. Then product realization is a series of the processes. Then purchasing is also a process that is used under the resource management, that is used as a product realization because it is not limited to the acquisition of the component. Then control of measuring devices is not related to the measurement process. So whenever we are controlling the measuring devices, that is more related to the measurement process than realization processes. Then control of the non-conforming product is more to do with handling product than measurement, that is used with the non-conforming product, that is used with the measurement, that is used to handle the product than the measurement. This is a diagram that shows that there is an alternative model of a process-based management system. There is the goal determination, then process development, process operation, effectiveness measurement, efficiency measurement, achievement measurement. These are the various measurements that will be used. That is the alternative model of a process-based management system. That is the needs and the expertise or the expectation that will be used in the process management, that will be used in the process-based management system. That is the process-based management system. So this shows the 6 stages of the process management that is linked between the needs and the expectations of the interested parties and their satisfaction that will be used. It is clear that in this model, the process management is not simply about converting the inputs into the output. That is also results from setting the goals that serves or that is used for the interested party. That means whatever the goal that will be required, that will be used, that results from the interested party that serves the interested party. That is the setting of the goals from the or that serves the interested party. Then developing the processes to achieve the goal. So whatever the processes that will be achieved, that is used to achieve the goal. So developing the processes to achieve the goal, that is the next part, that is the efficient management results. Then operating and maintaining the processes as designed. So whatever the operation, whatever the maintenance part that will be used, so operating and maintaining the processes as designed by the process-based management system. Then measuring the achievement, then improving the efficiency, effectiveness, that is used with this one. And this is one of the process stage, that is the basic clause, related clause that we have discussed. That is first of all determine the goal, then determine the processes to achieve the goal, that is identify the processes, determine the sequence, and develop the criteria and the method that is used for the QMS planning of the product realization, responsibility and the authority. Then provides the information, provides the resources. So whatever the resources that will be used, that is used to provide the basic concept that is used in the information and the resources. Then operate and maintain the processes, that is used for the QMS, that is used for the quality manual, control of the document, management commitment that is used. So that is used for the quality management system planning. Then management representative, infrastructure that is used for operating and maintaining the processes. Then establish that goal has been or goal is being achieved, that is monitoring and measuring the product, that is used for the review of the requirement that is related to the product design, development, verification, validation. So whatever the requirement that will be used, that is used with the monitoring and measuring the product. Then establish that goal is being achieved, that is establish that the goal being achieved by the base clause, by the related clause, that is for the analysis, implementation actions that is used to achieve the best possible way. So whatever the best possible way, that is also one of the best clause that is used in this one. That is one of the process stage that is related to the base clause and the related clause. Then established goal is achieved the best way. That means whatever the established goal, whatever the goal that we are using, that is achieved in the we can say the efficient way to measure them or monitor them, monitoring the processes. Then establish if it is a right goal. So establish if it is a right goal or not. So check it out whether it is a right goal that is achieved or not. Then certification to the ISO 9001 2001 standard. So that is the ISO 9001 2001 standard that will be used, and there are three pillars in this one, that is ISO 9000 standards. That is the management system, ISO 9000, ISO 9001 certification. So this is the again the summary of this one, again the summary of this chapter, that is summary of the various changes or adaptations. Now this is a summary of the whole chapter, that is the role of the. So in this chapter we have explored the role of the organization, standards, origins, and discovered that it continues over a long tradition of setting the standards, verifying the compliances, and formalize the working practices that is used as a means of meeting the customer or meeting the customer expectations. So whatever the customer expectation that will be met by the summary in this, that will be met in the ISO 9000 standard. So whatever the ISO 9000 standard that will be used, that will be applicable for the ISO 9000 2000 standards as well as the ISO 9000. This is the role, origin, and application. That is the food for thought. This is the bibliography. Now, next chapter, that is your chapter number 4, that is the quality management system that I'm going to discuss within the next class, that is in the tomorrow's class, that is the quality management system. That means what are the various management system, what are the various quality management system that will be achieved, or by which system we can achieve the quality, that is a quality management system. So this chapter I'm going to continue within the next class, that is in the tomorrow's class. So that's all for today's session. And tomorrow's target is chapter number 4, that is the starting of the chapter number 4. In the today's class, we are finished with the chapter number 3. So starting with chapter number 4 from the tomorrow's class. So that's all for today's session. And if there is any doubts, you can ask doubts from me. And any clarification regarding the project, regarding the assignment, regarding the module, anything you can ask freely. So thank you a lot, everyone. Bye-bye.